We were concerned if there was anything illegal, we needed to know as a city so we could do our own investigation. That was the purpose of that meeting.
That was a purpose. That was not the only purpose.
That was the only one I was in there for.
Well, maybe. I was in there for two purposes. I wanted to find out if there's something we needed to know.
Did we?
We did not find out. They chose not to tell us, and they had their reasons.
So we could still be at risk as a city?
No, because you've done due diligence to try and find out what is going on, and they're not telling you. So you've done what you can to find out if there is something amiss or if there's something wrong, and it's up to them at that point to deal with it in their board.
The city's no longer liable?
I don't know if the city ever was liable, but I think you have a duty to find out if something is hinky, and you did that.
And I don't want anything to be misconstrued when you're saying they. Neither Leon nor I represent the utility board, so neither Leon nor I would have any consent, permission, or right to meet with any representative of the city and discuss what's going on at the utility board. That would have to be through the utility board's council, and the utility board would have to appoint some person to be the spokesperson. So this isn't, so that the record is clear, it's not that Leon refused to provide information that should have been provided. It's he can't provide information without authority of the board or the board's attorney, and that authorization has not been provided.
Or he doesn't have the proof in the first place.
Madam Mayor, I think that's an unfair statement to be made, and I don't think that's appropriate.
And just to go back, I think we had a duty to find out if something was going wrong, and I think you've done. We did what we were supposed to do to find that out, and we found at this point we don't know. And if there is something, that's up to them, and that's their issue. Is the way it sits. But clearly, in my mind, I think we've done everything we can to examine it, to investigate it, and at this point we know nothing. But we don't have any other greater duty than what we've done, and so I don't think that the answer to the question is, are we liable for something? No, not in my opinion. We aren't. I think we've done everything we can to find out what's going on, and that's clearly an issue for them to deal with, and that's where it sits.
Okay. You have any other comments you'd like to make, Leon?
How about Linda or Jerry?
I've asked Linda and Jerry, and neither one has come up yet.
Okay.
Well,
Jerry
I'm assuming
kind
you don't
of
want
did.
to?
Well, I'll say something. I've got a cold, so my voice is kind of...
You can come up, and we might be able to hear you better if you want to come to the podium.
I feel that Leon has been a very good asset for the board. He does ask the questions. He is a businessman. He comes up with these questions that I can't think of. But I just feel that he's been a very positive asset on our board. You know, there's a couple of issues that have come up that he's been right on top of, and we've settled, and we've saw some true colors of other people. I just think it'd be a travesty if we lost him. I really do.
How do you get along with the other board members that aren't here tonight?
Fine, I guess. I mean, I don't have any issues with him or anything. I don't have any issues with Leon. When I first got on the board, I would allot so much time for each meeting, and then it ran over a few times, which was a conflict with my job. And I got, you know, that's when I had said to you that, you know, I may have to resign because of my obligations to the ambulance. And yes, Leon asked questions, but yes, somebody needs to be held accountable. They need to be held accountable for information we get and everything, and that's why the meetings were going over, and that was what my problem was, is that I had conflicted with the ambulance a couple of times. But since then, I think everything's been running very smooth.
Well, even Lance told me that your meetings were running smoother since I've been at them. So
since you've been at it?
Since I've been attending them, he thought that Leon was doing a much better job in watching himself better.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
But I don't want to babysit him for 4 years.
I don't really babysit him,
Yeah. You know, it's amazing to me that I keep hearing about how great Leon's doing because he's asked questions and that type of thing, and he's making people accountable. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I've been asking questions since I was elected, even back in November before I took office. I've asked questions of people in the community. I talked to each one of the new city council people to find out why they got on the board, what committees they wanted to be on, those type of things. I've asked lots of questions. And even though it may consider to everybody else it's he said, she said, I don't lie. I was raised not to. And I get very upset when people lie to me. Because the way I was raised and from my generation, if somebody lies to you, they're not trustworthy. And it's insulting to be lied to from people. When I've talked to Leon, and you guys can believe this if you want to, it doesn't matter, you're going to believe whatever you want. When I tried to talk to Leon, he got very upset with me and left and walked out because I was giving him an inquisition. I was asking him tough questions. He was having trouble answering them. He has a habit of when I ask a tough question of saying, well, you know the answer. Well, I also believe he knows the real answer why I want him off the board, the things that he has done to this city, the way he has treated people. I was raised that you respect people. You don't lie to them. You're fair to them. You walk in their shoes and see why they're doing the things they're doing. You try to correct it. Those are all the things I've been trying to do. Since I took office, my goal was to run this city in a positive way and move forward. You can't do that when you lie and when you make accusations against people that you have no proof in, because you set a tone by making those accusations. So, and yes, Mike, I know you know how, you think you want to tell me how to run my office,
No,
but
you're
no.
talking about what he's done for the city. There's a list of what he's done for the city, and it's pretty impressive.
And I
you
could
might
probably
wanna read it.
give you a list of the things that he's caused problems
Then
for the
you should
city.
do
Yeah,
that.
I think
You
you
should
should
do
do
it.
that. You're making
That's what we
innuendos.
want.
I think you should exactly
Okay,
tell
well,
us
that's what he
exactly what
does.
you're talking about.
Well,
I would
guys,
like to know
Okay,
what,
okay,
are
I'm
you
sorry.
saying that,
No.
are you saying the things that Leon has done out in the community is why you want him off the board?
Things he's done to the community.
To the
His
community.
interference at the airport when we went through that whole hassle, and he's the only one that attended the meetings to give all the negative input about our person that works at the airport. Other things that he's done, things he's said to people, the way he's bullied people, the fact that he even struck the economic development person, but that was a reflex from his taekwondo. That was his
Okay,
reasoning
so
for it.
How is that so negative on what he's doing for the board as things that we're accomplishing on the Light Plant Board? How does that affect what he's doing there? I mean, he's done very much good for the community and for the board.
But he's also caused a lot of stress for your employees, the city employees. You've got some very talented people working at that board, the same as we do in the city itself. We got a lot of good city employees, but we got to treat them right. We got to treat them with respect. We got to keep them out of all the hassles and the bickering and all this good stuff, and that's what's happening with this. And everything you guys are accusing me or insinuating that I'm doing is not any different than he's doing. But I guess because I'm the mayor, I'm held to a higher standard. I agree with that might be. But I have caught him in lies so many times. I accidentally does not hear anything, never gets any messages, all this stuff. He's innocent in all counts, and yet it all comes back and seems to be that I'm the one that's causing the trouble. So it's almost to amount, it's not just he said, she said, it's like, who do you believe? Who has shown that they can be honest and above board and to the community and this type of thing. I didn't win with the numbers I won because I lie, because I don't set a good example, because I don't trust this community, because I don't care about this community. I get involved in this community in all aspects. I have for years. I volunteer to do all these things. I can give you a list longer than that of all the great things I've done. But I'm not trying to do that. I see a board that is not functioning, that the people are not, like Leon doesn't play well together, and they're not working together. And I hate to see that happen. I hate to see the people that are being affected that are employees. I don't want to take the risk of losing any good employees. I ran for office to make this town grow, bring back some of our alumni, not chase good, qualified people out of our town. And every place where I've had a bump, where there's been a chance that that could happen, as I've researched it and asked questions and asked the tough questions and tried to get who should be accountable, Leon's name has come up every time. I didn't even know Leon or never met him until he was brought up on January 9th, 2012 for that appointment. And at that meeting, the attorney and the general manager of the light plant pointed out the problems they'd had with him illegally, the things he was doing illegal, how they had to take him to court, and all this stuff, which he denied, but there's paperwork proving what he did. And his name should have, at that point, been taken off as a possibility until we could have investigated the charges and the things that were being brought out by the attorney and the general manager. But instead, by a fluke, which also is questionable whether it should be legal to begin with, when you abstain from a vote, you have to be put into record why you abstained. And if you don't have a good reason, you have to be forced into voting. That didn't happen. Because when John did abstain, that made Carl know that he had a majority vote, and he immediately accepted it. He never questioned him, never asked him. Even Carter did not. And I brought it up. Carter was sitting there. I tried telling him that that should not happen. I'm at fault for not making a bigger issue back at that time.